DJ Rose.
Welcome back. Yeah, man, how you doing?
I know you miss me.
Like-
I know you miss me.
I know you like that. How long you been back, man? I see the dirt.
Yo, what up?
DJ Rose.
It's your boy, I'm back. Deeply Opinionated Podcast. I do apologize. I got the DMs, the texts, the IG messages. I got it all. Y'all was cussing me out like, yo, what's up with the podcast? I had so many ideas running that I needed to perfect what I needed to happen. So in order to do that, I had to invest in myself. So I had to go in overtime for the things to present product the right way. The deeply opinionated conversations. Y'all loved that, but the only feedback I was getting was the sound, because when we would start all talking at the same time, you couldn't understand what people were saying. So in order to do that, I had to go get mics and go get the proper equipment so everybody can be heard properly. So that's definitely coming soon, so stay tuned for that. If you want to be a part of the deeply opinionated conversations, hit me up through any form, email, text, you got my number, DM, whatever, let me know. And if you open-minded, and even if you're not even open-minded, but you have something to add to a particular conversation, I'm down for anybody. And when I say anybody, I mean anybody. If you have something to contribute, and you know, I can tell from if I know you or not, or through your social media that you have something to contribute to the conversation, I'm down with anybody who has something to give. So I'm 100% for that. Deeply Opinionated Podcast. What I did say I was going to do was kind of cut these down because I get kind of long-winded. And I think it's better if it's something condensed and still you can get something from it, but in a condensed time, because people's attention span is this long these days. So this today's podcast is going to be about what is happiness. What is happiness? Because so the reason that I thought of this topic, because I was examining myself, and you know, I was seeing, you know, the things that I want, are the things that I want really going to make me happy? You know, going through life, we see in a capitalist country, we see that, you know, money, everybody thinks money is what's going to bring happiness. But we have so many examples of all these celebrities losing their minds and being on drugs and all of these things, and just how it fucks with you. People don't look at celebrities as human beings. Could you imagine not being able to be a human? Like, it's just, and then with today's social media, with everybody having an opinion, these celebrities are human beings. So they want to be on Instagram just like we want to be on Instagram. And they see what's being said about them, and it's only so long that you can see that, and it starts to fuck with you. No matter how much confidence you think you got, you're still a human being. So we have plenty of examples of celebrities, you know, not being happy with all of the money in the world. Then you have some people think marriage is going to make you happy, right? But we have so many examples of people who are married and are in failing situations, or making it look great on Instagram, but people who know you in real life know your relationship ain't shit, ain't worth shit. And we know the real, but you put on this Instagram front, this social media front, because people are scared to be themselves. So we have 1,000 examples of that. So then it makes you kind of wonder, like, how many people even know what makes them happy? Or are people just chasing what they're told is happiness? Those two things are different. if you're chasing things that people tell you are going to be happy, when you get it, you're not genuinely going to be happy. You're just chasing it because you think that's what's called success. But you define success. Nobody else defines your success. You define your success. Your definition of success is your definition, not someone else's. Your success could be something small. It don't have to be, you know, Beyonce or the president, or it don't have to be that. Success is what you make it. So I question myself sometimes, the things that I want, things that I pursue. Do I really want that because it's going to make me genuinely happy, or do I want it because it's going to make me feel what I think will make me happy? And that's a battle sometimes. It's just a battle with all of these things. Like, there's so many things that I want to do, but I also don't want to be famous. And the reason that I don't want to be famous is because it's just, I want to be great, but not famous. Kind of like nobody knows who directed Jaws. If I ask anybody right now, who was the director of Jaws? You don't know. Who was the guy who did the costumes for Star Wars? You don't know. But all of these people are great. Who was the person who, who was the person who did the wardrobe for the Titanic? You don't know who they are, but these people are great. They took intricate time to have the costumes in the same time frame and, just put all that together. That's a genius person. They're great, but they're not famous. So that way you can enjoy your success and not have to deal with the famous part of it. So that's where I kind of get gray in this area of music and DJing and podcasting, because that's a battle, because, dealing with fame it's tricky. It's tricky on the mind, because none of the shit is natural. Like, just imagine, right? Imagine the pressure, right, of standing on a stage in a stadium full of people and they're all just gazing at you. Like, that's weird as shit. Like, 50,000 people just staring at you while you stand on the stage. And then you have to entertain them for hours. Like, that's even like fucking crazy as shit. Like, that would blow my damn mind. Standing on the stage, like the first time standing on the stage in front of 50,000 people and just standing there looking at all these people just here to see me, that would blow my mind. And I know those celebrities are human beings. It blows their mind too. That's why they medicate themselves to get through it, because the shit is not regular. It's not normal shit to be standing on the stage and having to entertain 30, 50,000 people. So in viewing all of this shit, like, how do we get to a place of knowing what genuinely makes us happy, right? So then you have to break down, the stereotypes in your mind of what you think success is supposed to look like, right? The same thing we do with love. We run after what we think love is supposed to look like, but we don't give it the chance, because love could be anything. Love is like water. It could be anything, right? It don't have to be one way. It don't have to be defined one way. You don't have to live by everyone else's standards. Love is whatever those two people decide to make love look like for them. Same thing with success. Whatever you decide to make success look like is your success. You shouldn't judge that by no one else's success. You shouldn't judge that by what you think success should look like. You should judge by how it makes you feel, because you know what? You are the only person who has to live this life. You are the only person who has to live this life. No one else has to live your life. So the most important thing is your happiness. Not following behind no dude, not following behind no woman, not following behind no job, not following behind no career, not following behind nothing, but what makes you happy. Once you find out what makes you happy, I think that makes everything easier, because you're at peace with yourself, because it makes you happy and you don't give a fuck what nobody else thinks about it. And once we all get to that level, I think that is the place of true happiness, whether it's involving love or not, whether it's involving money or not, whether it's involving whatever. I think that is the true definition of happiness. Not the stereotypes of what it's supposed to look like, not the best job in the world that makes the most money. All of that shit is just not real. It's not It's not real things. It's not a real thing. It's how you provide for your family, but it's only because you have to. It's part of the system. Go to your job. Go to the job. You will babysit your kids while they're at school and train them to be what we want them to be, so they grow up being just like you, working a 9 to 5. And we'll babysit your kids for an hour as we train them to be these robots who respond to bells and change rooms inside this big ass building to learn all of this shit that is catered to making us forget our own fucking culture. All of that shit is just a fucking cycle. Your kids cannot inherit your job. You're supposed to be hustling for your last name but not your first name. So it's a vicious cycle. You go to work, we pay you just enough money for you to go home and come back again. Not for you to go and start your own shit, but we just pay you enough so you have to keep coming back because we know you need us because you got bills. So that cycle. We also got to be careful when we don't put that on our kids. I think back now when I was growing up, how my parents was like, turn that video game off, right? Don't play that video game. Now there is niggas who make millions and millions and millions of dollars playing video games. More money than your parents ever made in their life or ever will make. Playing video games. There's a whole fucking NBA league of players who make real money playing on the fucking game. It's like 5 players, they sit with each other and they play other 5 players and they get drafted just like NBA players. They're in a real league. They get traded and all that kind of shit goes on. It's wild. Like, before long, it's not going to be real basketball anymore. It's going to be on a fucking video game and niggas controlling the fucking shit. These niggas play video games in arenas and they pack out the arena for people to come watch them play video games on the big screen. But back then, our parents was like, don't play them games. Put that thing down, go outside. No, I should have been in here getting good as shit on this fucking Tekken 2 or this fucking Contra or whatever the fuck we was playing. I should have been here getting good on this shit so I could be a fucking millionaire playing video games and we could be living our best fucking life. But again, that's us putting our constraints on our kids. Once you see your child like something, invest in that. Spark that. If your child don't look at it as they being bad or being, or he ain't doing what you expect him to do. Like Kanye made a great example, right? Right. So say a little kid jumps on a table, right? And stands on the table and everybody's looking at that child like, get your ass off that table. But what in our minds made us think that standing on a table is wrong? Like, it's an object, it's just an object. It's just just a piece of thing that what we call a table. What makes standing on it wrong? Even if we talk about sanitary, like you can stand on it and then clean it off and then eat. But what's so wrong about standing on it when in that moment, the child standing on that made him feel strong and powerful and like Superman standing on the table? That was like an empowering moment for a child. But instead we take that away from them and we constrain them and say, don't stand on the table, because in our minds, standing on the table is wrong. It's like an unwritten law, don't stand on the table. But fuck this table. Like, it's a table, it's an object that I could break it right now, we throw it in the trash and never think about it ever again. So fuck this table. Stand on tables. You know what I'm saying? Like, do different shit. Like, whatever. Like, people have to free their mind and think about a lot of the shit that we stick to that it's not really real. It's not really important. It's not really, it's not really, these laws these stuff that we just do because we just told to do it. And it after so long, you feel like a robot. Like, it's kind of crazy, and because it's like a robot, it's like you're computerized, so they know how to control you, they know how to advertise to you, they know how to, I done got way off fucking subject, but they know how to advertise to you, they know if they put the color green on the box, you're gonna think it's healthy, whether it's healthy or not. They know that, so they play because they have trained you to be whatever they want you to be. I'm getting off topic, but anyway, We have to understand what truly makes us happy and not what we have been told to think is happiness. So in that moment, we have to find our true happiness so we can pursue it. And that may mean not being married. That may mean not getting the fucking best job you ever had in the world. Like, there's a lot of rich niggas who jump off the top of them big ass buildings because they can't fucking take it. They commit suicide. They doing all kind of shit because they ain't happy up there either. Like, we see all these fucking shows and shit. Some of that shit is, dramatized, but a lot of that shit is real. It's snaky at the top. It ain't all good at the top because somebody always want that next spot. Is how we train to be. It's a world of competition. We're trained to be competing with everybody. Everybody's competing. Like, we're pitted against each other. Like, what was your numbers today? My numbers was this. Like, it's trained to compete. So, like I said, we have to find our true happiness, and we have to be honest with ourselves on what that true happiness is, and then pursue it and just be happy. It's that easy. It's that easy, but it's hard. But it is also that easy. It takes a strong mind to understand that.